The fall color in the Eastern Sierra was fantastic this year, so it's difficult to leave. But I promised myself that I'd try some other areas this year. We're headed to Utah. Death Valley was not on my fall photography bingo card. Nevertheless, after looking more closely at the map and the time of day, it seems like the best option to stop for the night. I love this place. There's a perfect silence I haven't found anywhere else. Even Izzy seems a little confused by the lack of familiar sounds. Did I mention we also have a cat with us? Meet Juno. Yes, we're a traveling zoo these days. No, she doesn't ride in the camper. It feels great to be on a new adventure. I'm excited to spend the next 5 or 6 days traveling beyond California. The plan for tomorrow is to drive to Zion National Park. Darkness settles in, and we enjoy a peaceful night in the desert. We awake to a beautiful pastel sky. Soft pink clouds drift overhead. I'm tempted to race down to Zabriskie Point, but that's mostly west-facing, and the nice clouds are all in the northeast. The dunes are the place to be, but it's at least a half hour away, plus some hiking. I'll never make it in time. Better to just enjoy the moment from here, and then hit the road. Watchman Campground. I haven't been here in a very long time. Old memories come flooding back. I was here 24 years ago, gearing up to climb my first big wall with my buddy Clark. It took us way too long, we ran out of water and scared ourselves silly, but somehow managed to complete the route. In 2013, I joined a photography workshop here and have fond memories of an early morning hike through the Narrows. As sunlight starts to find its way into the narrow canyon, the towering sandstone walls are illuminated by wonderful reflected light. I'm not sure why it has taken me 12 years to return, but here we are. I head straight to the east side of the park. an area I've never had the chance to explore much. Along the drive to Zion, I had noticed many trees that were still green. I'm relieved to see that at this higher elevation, the foliage is peaking. I have no idea where to start, so at random I pick one of the dozens of available pullouts and go for a little walk. The color is gorgeous everywhere I look, but I'm especially taken by the notes of intense red. We simply don't have anything that looks quite like this in the mountains of California. I weave in between sandstone slabs and cliffs, wandering down a path of sand, sprinkled with colorful fallen leaves. Everything about this landscape feels new and exciting. For now, though, it's just a quick get-acquainted walk, and it's not long before I turn around. On the way back, I stop and get out the camera for this group of small maple trees with a colorful foreground of grasses and wildflowers. Standing here right now, I'm convinced this is going to be really nice. When editing, it doesn't take long to realize the red leaves get lost when framed against a red rock background. Of course, it seems obvious now, but it's a good reminder that these new color combinations will require a bit more thought. A new day, and I get an early pre-dawn start. There's nothing like trying to explore a brand new area in the dark. Fortunately, the light comes quickly, and I'm able to turn off the headlamp and find my way out onto a prominent sandstone buttress that overlooks the surrounding washes. A few clouds start to catch fire with the rising sun. I decide to pull out the wide-angle lens in an effort to capture the sweeping sandstone foreground as well as the distant vista. I underexpose drastically in order to preserve the sky, and it subsequently requires some heavy lifting. I like the composition, and the clouds are a nice dynamic element, but it probably would benefit from some more light. In order to get a bit more side light or reflected light, I suspect I'd need to wait it out, but I'm eager to keep moving. Now, of course, the intent is always to make a video focused on photography rather than hiking, so forgive me if this strays a bit towards the latter. The idea of exploring an area for the very first time and coming away with portfolio-quality images feels daunting and is probably unrealistic for me. Hopefully, movement through this landscape is able to convey its character and beauty, but perhaps go easy on me when it comes to image expectations. The reality is, lots of walking and observing is a central aspect of landscape photography, and this is especially true when the area is new and unknown. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Let's roll with it. At times, everything feels like a potential image, and at other times, nothing stands out. Sometimes I just don't know what will work until I get out the camera, put it on a tripod, and try to narrow down a composition. If it doesn't work, I still enjoy the process. The higher terrain is enticing, and I can imagine spending days exploring this area. However, it also seems like it's something one could do at any time of year, and for now I'm more drawn to the colorful trees and the washes below. I spend time looking for images of fall color set against varnished sandstone walls. I knew at some point I would do the obvious and just point the camera straight at one of these fiery red maples. This one in particular caught my eye due to the delicate wireframe network of branches visible between the clusters of vibrant leaves. Two mornings spent exploring the east side of Zion, and I have a few images I like, but nothing I'm thrilled with. Oddly enough, I don't feel discouraged. I feel like I'm being patient and methodical, and with more time, better images will follow. Back at camp. Occasionally people ask what my wife does while I take photos. More often than not, she's working while I'm playing. This afternoon, the tables are turned, and I catch up on work while Lisa hikes the Narrows. Now it's time to make a difficult decision. We've been having a great time in Zion, and I'm once again blown away by this amazing place. We can stay here for the next few days, and I can really focus on dialing in a handful of images. Or we can keep exploring and see what's around the next bend. We take a cue from Izzy and keep moving. Eventually, we get our first glimpse of Capitol Reef National Park, with its iconic red cliffs and weathered sandstone formations. Colorful cottonwood trees line the road as we follow the path of the Fremont River. We continue beyond to a stark but beautiful area just on the edge of the Utah Badlands. For some time now, I've been noticing and admiring images of picturesque cottonwood trees set against this dramatic geology. I knew instantly it was an area I'd love to see for myself someday. Here we are. Mentally, I've been focused on shooting tomorrow morning, but since we're already here, I can't resist getting a quick look before sunset. I capture an image or two and realize this stunning landscape is equally enticing at dusk. It's colder than it looks, but calm with very little wind. I start out with a medium focal length and work out a simple and straightforward view focused on the array of cottonwoods at the base of the nearby butte. A muddy river snakes through a tangled foreground. It's sort of enticing, but also busy, and I'm not sure how I would incorporate it. Instead, I opt for including only a narrow band of trees and give more visual weight to the interesting angular shapes in the eroded cliffside. It feels great to be at a new location with no preconceptions or expectations, just reacting in the moment to what I see in front of me. At this point, I decide to switch to the 100-400 for some more isolated compositions. It's a bit more challenging than I had expected. I need to move around quite a bit to find narrow lines of sight between foreground trees. I find myself drawn to compositions that highlight the juxtapositions in this landscape. The warm tones of fall foliage set against blue cliffs, intricate woodland textures in the foreground paired with a minimalist geologic background. I wouldn't be here this morning if not for the kindness of Art Hughes and John Grawl. Both are talented landscape photographers who I met through social media. Art has been generous enough to share a few of his favorite locations with me, this being one of them. It's great to finally meet both in person. We chat about things that only other landscape photographers would find remotely interesting. Locations, tripod preferences, the finer points of reflected light. Eventually, the sun crests the nearby butte, and the landscape is instantly awash in the intense light of day. It's time to move on. Art and John are headed farther into the Utah backcountry for a couple days of off-road adventure. Elisa and I, being somewhat less courageous, are headed back towards Capitol Reef. We become tourists for the day and set out down some of the park's dirt roads, passing through amazing scenery, narrow canyons flanked by colorful sandstone cliffs. It's the middle of the day, and I'm mostly content to just take it all in. Having been chasing fall color for the past few weeks, I now have a bad case of tunnel vision. I'm sure that I'm surrounded by image possibilities, but if it doesn't include colorful leaves, I'm oblivious. So it's not surprising that when I do finally stop and grab the camera, it's because of a small, isolated instance of autumn foliage nestled within the sculpted canyon walls. A bit of wind is getting funneled through the canyon. Although I have the presence of mind to raise the ISO, I still need to wait for a moment between gusts. We end up at the park's Fruta campground and enjoy a bit of downtime. I want to be up early tomorrow to concentrate on some of the cottonwood trees we had passed on the drive in. Once again, it's a brisk, peaceful morning. It's just a few minutes past sunrise, and this meadow is still in shade. But a glance back towards the truck tells me the direct light is marching this way. Initially, it's just highlights on the spires of rock above, but more quickly than I anticipate, direct light is making its way down the rock face that I'm shooting towards. I probably should be thinking of ways to capture the entire cliff face, but it's all happening so fast. I find these high contrast conditions difficult, and my impulse is just to avoid the challenge completely by locking into a smaller composition. Sunlight continues to stretch across the landscape, creating wonderful instances of backlit cottonwoods. However, the conditions are fleeting, and I'm struggling to be positioned at the right spot at the right time. In a last-ditch attempt to get something, I focus on a small, delicate tree just as it's illuminated. Within just minutes, the entire meadow is now bathed in light, and it's time to move elsewhere. We head just down the road a bit to an area that is still hiding from the sun. Throughout this corridor, there are bright yellow cottonwoods in an endless variety of shapes, set against red sandstone walls. Some of the trees stand out as solitary figures, while others seem to be paired together like dance partners. Although I did a poor job of documenting it, I would find myself focused on these cottonwoods throughout the morning hours, and then again in the early evening. I look on this brief visit as having been a fun exercise, an introduction to a handful of beautiful areas, and some valuable insight as to the available compositions and the ideal conditions. Hopefully it's all knowledge that I can apply on a return trip. Sadly, we need to start heading home tomorrow, but there's one more location I'm eager to see. A somewhat rough but manageable road will lead us to an area of the Utah Badlands known for its Bentonite Hills. This amazing, otherworldly landscape consists of colorful, softly rounded hills, consisting of clay and shale formed from ancient ash deposits. I'm careful to walk only on an established, well-worn path, and make my way up to a higher point in order to gain a better perspective of the surroundings. I've always been fascinated by maps, so it's a bit like catnip for my brain to see a landscape where the elevation contours are essentially painted directly on the hillsides in vibrant shades of red and purple. Initially, I do my best to capture some images with my standard camera. I'd try again lower down on the hike out. However, it quickly becomes obvious that the view from my little drone is much more engaging than anything I can manage at ground level. I don't normally do much drone photography, but this location is difficult to resist. I slow down and try to be more selective of static compositions among the kaleidoscope of patterns and colors. All good things come to an end. I suspect that if I did trips like this all the time, it wouldn't feel quite as special. At the moment, I'm convinced that I need to do longer journeys and hopefully more often. Of course, the farther you go, the longer the return trip. Up early the next morning, we start the 900-mile drive home.